The McCarty 594 is less than 10 years old, but it's become an extremely popular choice for people looking for a set neck, dual humbucker guitar with a shorter scale length than what you would find on a typical PRS. Without this guitar, the Gibson Les Paul, it's pretty unlikely that this would exist to begin with. So today, I want to shoot the two of them out to see just how they stand against one another. A few small details I want to highlight before we get started about each guitar, because specs are going to vary based on both the year and the actual trim of the model that you're looking at for each of these instruments. The PRS is a 2024 model, so it has the 5815 LT pickups. This Gibson is a 2025 model. This is a Gibson Les Paul Standard Lite. The body's a little bit thinner, but it results in a 7-pound Gibson Les Paul. That's pretty cool. It has Burstbucker 1 and Burstbucker 2 pickups. The only reason that we're able to do this comparison at all today is because this guitar, the Gibson, is on loan for me from zZounds. If you're interested in checking out any of the stuff that you're seeing and hearing in today's video, you can find it at zZounds. There'll be links in the description down below, and it directly supports this channel. We're going to start off with some clean tones using the Fender Princeton Reverb, and then we'll make our way over to the Mesa Boogie Mark V Comet. Before I give you my opinion on these guitars and the playing experience, let me know in the comments section which one you preferred based on the sound examples alone. One of the main reasons I wanted to do this shootout was because I was curious about one thing, and it had to do with the Les Paul. That guitar has the thinner body and it weighs a pound less than this one. This has a full thickness on it. I was assuming that the Les Paul wouldn't have the same sort of low end that the McCarty was going to be able to have. And boy, I was wrong about that. I feel like it had even more low end than the 594 did to it, and that surprised me a little bit. That doesn't mean the PRS isn't awesome in its own right, though. It's just different. I've read so many people say on the internet that these guitars are sterile, they have no life, they're bland, they just don't do that raw sound. Perhaps to some extent, the last thing that I said is partially true compared to something like a Gibson Les Paul, but at the end of the day, the strengths of this guitar I would find very difficult to replicate with the Gibson. A perfect example of that is the note definition that I get from these pickups. Everything is crystal clear. It doesn't matter if I'm playing with a ton of gain or just an edge of breakup. It's just a super transparent instrument. The Gibson's a little bit more on the raw side. Nothing wrong with that, just different sorts of flavors. The other thing that I greatly prefer about this guitar compared to the Gibson is the fact that when I do have gain on, if I adjust my pick attack with this one, it cleans up really nicely. I keep note definition and it doesn't immediately feed back. With the Gibson, on the other hand, if I don't immediately roll back on the volume knob, I'm feeding back like crazy. I also only had to tune the PRS once in that whole session. With the Gibson, I had to tune it several times. Yeah, it's out of tune again. Anyways, the positives of the Gibson, though, outweigh the little things that annoy us when it comes to these guitars, such as the stability of the tuning compared to something like a PRS or, God forbid, something like a Telecaster, which is the holy grail of tuning stability. I love the way that these guitars sound because sometimes you don't want something that sounds perfect. You want something that's just raw, something that's big, something that's just super warm sounding. And I love these guitars clean. It's something that I find to be really underrated amongst people. A lot of people that talk about Les Pauls and they think about their favorite Les Paul players, it's all higher gain stuff or, kind of edge breakup, plexi kind of tones. For me, I think that these things, especially when paired with a Fender amplifier, to do a really great job of picking up some really soulful clean tones. But as I expected, when we were using the Mesa Boogie and I was on the Mark IV channel that had a lot of gain on it, this guitar just had a fullness to it and aliveness to it, just this raw rock tone that I wasn't getting the same feeling from the PRS with. Playability wise, the fretwork is fantastic on both of these guitars, and they have a chunky neck style to them. It's really just a difference of the single cut versus a double cut design, but that's going to be down to preference, and that's kind of where I want to make my last point with this little comparison that we did here. These guitars are really different from one another. You can get similar-ish sorts of tones for each one, but neither one, in my opinion, completely replaces or makes one of them obsolete. There's always going to be a place for a guitar like this, just like I feel there's always going to be a place for a guitar like the McCarty 594. It's all going to come down to preference, but at the end of the day, if you can afford both, you won't feel like you have a redundancy in your guitar lineup. I feel like that's a really good place to end for today. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, useful, and or entertaining, you can let me know by leaving a like on the video. If you have any experience with these guitars you'd like to share, let me know in the comment section down below. Two special thank yous. One, again, to zZounds for making this video possible because this is on loan to me. I do not get to keep this guitar, sadly, and that's going to suck when I have to send it back. But secondly, to all the members and the patrons of this channel, your support really does mean the world to me. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next video. Take it easy, everybody.